You start to feel better, but you don't feel driven. You feel calmer, but also unsure. You don't want what you used to want, but you don't yet know what you want instead. This often happens and is a natural part of true healing. That space is not failure. It's write down one role you have played for a long time. Prompt 2. Write what this role gave you: safety, approval, control, belonging. Prompt number 3. Write what this role cost you: energy, rest, honesty, softness. Prompt number 4. Complete this sentence in writing: I am no longer required to be blank to be worthy. Prompt number 5. Write one value that feels more important to you now than it used to. You don't need answers. Let me show you one practice, a 60-second hand reset. Take one hand, I'm going to use my blanket, and place it on a surface or object next to you. Slowly notice the texture, the temperature, the pressure. Breathe naturally for 60 seconds. That feeling reintroduces consent into your life. Number 2, old motivation no longer works. Fear, for example, guilt, pressure, and urgency lose their power. For example, you can't push yourself with shame anymore. Hustle talk feels hollow. Healing removes fuel that was burning you out. Number 3, confusion replaces certainty. For example, false clarity dissolves before true clarity. Here are 5 ways healing changes identity. Number 1, you stop automatically saying yes. Healing restores internal choice. For example, you hesitate before commitments you once accepted instantly, not because you're difficult, but because your energy now matters. Healing reintroduces consent into your life. Number 2, old motivation no longer works. Fear, for example, guilt, pressure, and urgency lose their power. For example, you can't push yourself with shame anymore. Hustle talk feels. What if the problem was that healing was framed as something intense instead of something repeatable? What if the body doesn't heal through big moments, but through what happens quietly day after day? Now tonight, here are our core teaching points. The body learns through repetition, not intensity. Your nervous system, digestion, hormones, and immune system are shaped by patterns. They respond to what happens consistently, not occasionally. Small actions repeated daily teach the body when to rest, when to digest, when to release stress, when it's safe. Big changes may feel motivating, but they often overwhelm the nervous system.
Take you on a ride, boy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Dr. Debbie, and this is Evolve Global 22's Healing Light Studio. This is a place for real people who have carried families, responsibilities, grief, hope, faith, exhaustion, and love, often all at the same time. And before I get into tonight's topic, I want to remind you, after the new year, we are going to return on Monday nights on our study of the science of the sacred and building concepts around that will help you. And this week, we are launching into 2026. Happy New Year to all. May this be a blessed new year ahead for all of us. And may we make our healing, health, and wellness our number one priority. So tonight, this space, as I said, is for real people, us, and I am no different than you. Tonight, I want to talk about something many of us feel, but rarely hear explained clearly. The title of tonight's live stream is When Healing Changes the Shape of Your Life. Because sometimes healing does not feel like improvement. Sometimes it feels like nothing fits the way it used to. And that, my friends, can be very, very confusing. I have been there. Even frightening sometimes. If no one ever told you this could be part of the healing, it is. It's part of true, deep healing. So if you've been thinking, why do I feel different even though I've done the work? This conversation is for you. This is the part of healing that no one warns us about. We're taught that healing should bring relief, more energy, more clarity, more motivation. And yes, sometimes it does. But there is another phase of healing, a quieter one, where instead of adding something, healing begins removing what no longer belongs. Healing doesn't only mend wounds, it also loosens identities that were built around those wounds. Some familiar experiences for many of us can include always being the responsible one, being needed to feel valuable, staying strong because no one else could, pushing through because stopping just was not an option. And these ways of being weren't mistakes. Those examples and those ways of being were not mistakes, my friends. They were adaptations. For many of us, they kept us safe, fed, functional, and standing. But healing eventually asks a different question. Who are you when survival is no longer the main job? What part of you has worked very hard for a very long time? Now, why is healing disorienting sometimes, or it feels disorienting? This is where we as human beings and most people get confused and often discouraged. And this is where many, many people fall off and just quit. You start to feel better, but you don't feel driven. You feel calmer, but also unsure. You don't want what you used to want, but you don't yet know what you want instead. This often happens and is a natural part of true healing. That space is not failure, it's reorientation. Think about it for a minute. When you move furniture out of a room, there's a moment when the room looks worse, not better. That doesn't mean that the room is broken. It means it's being reconfigured. There were times in my own healing where I thought, why am I not excited? Why don't I feel ready? What I didn't realize was I wasn't meant to rush forward. I was meant to arrive somewhere new. So let's think about this. Ask yourself, where in your life do you feel in between? Not struggling, but not settled either. Here are 5 ways healing changes identity. Number 1, you stop automatically saying yes. Healing restores internal choice. For example, you hesitate before commitments you once accepted instantly, not because you're difficult, but because your energy now matters. Healing reintroduces consent into your life. Number 2, old motivation no longer works. Fear, for example, guilt, pressure, and urgency lose their power. For example, you can't push yourself with shame anymore. Hustle talk feels hollow. Healing removes fuel that was burning you out. Number 3, confusion replaces certainty. For example, false clarity dissolves before true clarity forms. You pause before decisions. You question paths you once followed confidently. Confusion is often honesty arriving. Confusion is often honesty arriving. Number 4, you need more quiet than before. Healing shifts attention inward. You prefer fewer conversations, simpler plans, earlier nights. Stillness is how integration happens. Number 5, values change before goals do. Healing reorders what matters. For example, peace matters more than productivity. Alignment matters more than approval. Values are the blueprint for the next chapter. Think about this. Which of these changes feels most familiar to you right now? At Evolve Global 22's Healing Light Studio, the Power of Three, remember what they are? Energy medicine, Ayurveda, informed living, and herbal wisdom. We talk about healing as a whole life realignment. Evolve Global 22 teaches healing through the power of 3 because identity doesn't live in one place. Let me say that again. Identity does not live in one place. Energy medicine releases the old rules of the body. Identity is stored in posture, tension, and breath. For example, someone who always has been the strong one may carry tight shoulders and shallow breathing, even at rest. Energy medicine supports releasing role-based holding, not just stress. Ayurveda-inspired living, healing by season and life stage. Balance looks different at different ages and stages. For example, what worked in survival for years may now exhaust you. Slower mornings and rhythm aren't weakness, they're wisdom. And herbal wisdom supports integration, not force. For example, herbal wisdom supports steadiness and nourishment. Instead of stimulation, healing may call for grounding and calming support while clarity forms. This is healing that evolves with you, not healing that asks you to stay the same. Let's try a little practice. You know, I love giving you a practice in these sessions. This practice is called the identity inventory. Now, I want to offer you this practice so you can return to not, just do it tonight, but return anytime when healing feels confusing. If you have a notebook nearby, I invite you to pick it up. If not, you can do this mentally and write it down later. First, take a deep breath in and settle your body. Get comfortable in a nice, quiet space. Write at the title of the top of the page, what healing is changing in me. Now, we're going to go through a series of prompts. Prompt number 1, write down one role you have played for a long time. Prompt 2, write what this role gave you: safety, approval, control, belonging. Prompt number 3, write what this role cost you: energy, rest, honesty, softness. Prompt number 4, complete this sentence in writing. I am no longer required to be blank to be worthy. Prompt number 5, write one value that feels more important to you now than it used to. You don't need answers. You're simply noticing what healing is already doing. Now, let me take a moment. I've been announcing now for a week something very exciting here at Evolve Global 22. This is an invitation for all. Evolve Global 22's Healing Light Studio is now on Patreon. Spaces like this don't survive on urgency or algorithms. They survive on community. And Evolve Global 22 is a community of true whole healing. For $1 a month, you can become a community supporter and keep healing accessible. You literally help us to keep the lights on. You may not, these are for those who may not need anything right now, but they want to support healing in the world. Tier number 2 is the Founders Healing Circle. For $7.99 a month, we offer deeper monthly integration and allow service to those who can't pay for full servicing. This, my friends, is how we heal together. If you look in the description and you go to the first comment, the Patreon link is there. Now, in closing, I want to invite you to come home to yourself. As we move into 2026, healing isn't asking you to become more. It is asking you to become truer. Different doesn't mean damaged. Quiet doesn't mean lost. And change doesn't mean something went wrong. This is Dr. Debbie with Evolve Global 22's Healing Light Studio. And always remember, healing is ongoing. Healing is lived. Healing meets you where you are. The healing is here. The support is here. But wholeness lives within you always. Good night, all. Thank you for being here.